All right, we should be live. Let's take a look here, double checking before we get into a plethora of topics. Double checking. Yes, very good. Okay. To start off, gotta double check. Yeah, okay, yep, we're good. We're good. To start off, we have the Canada Post strike. Apparently, workers are set to walk out on Friday. The last strike was late last year. I remember it being pretty recent in terms of everything that's going on. But Canada Post is in trouble. Here are the facts. It's coming from the CBC News, by the way. So the overall report here annually, not looking too good. Losing hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars since 2018. And even from the 2015 to 2017 range, 63, 55, 76 compared to the almost 200 million. There was a big drop leading to the negative that we're seeing now. They're losing a lot of money. That's just the bottom line. That's just the fact at this point. We even go to the actual Canada Post website. See if I can get a better view here. The November 22nd, 2024 Canada Post reports 315 million loss before tax in third quarter. So, like, it's gotten to the point where they couldn't even hide it themselves. Right? Obviously, things are bad. The writing's on the wall. The company's gonna have to come out clear, come clean. And it's just not good. Billions of dollars being lost at this point. And they're going on another strike. Now, look, I don't know the ins and outs of how all of that works. I'm not in the postal industry. I have worked for unions in the past, but I have not worked for Canada Post. I don't know. Well, here we go again. Canada Post is planning another strike. Unions say it's about fairness. Fairness. Most Canadians see irrelevance. Private couriers will carry the weight.
Wow, I just read it. So here we go again. The impending Canada Post strike, it's another example of how the union is accelerating this service's own demise. I mean, their decision to walk out over the Christmas season, it only reinforced what many Canadians already believe. The Canada Post is increasingly irrelevant in this digital world. I mean, last time the public adapted quickly. They turned to private couriers and shopping online without missing a beat. I don't know. Perhaps the union feels emboldened by the assumption that Ottawa will keep bailing them out, regardless of their performance. But at some point, taxpayers of all political stripes will grow tired of funding a system that refuses to evolve. The Canada Post needs this reform, not another strike. Wow, I just read it.
So there you go. All I know is this can't continue, right? Like, bottom line, losing that much money annually, just not sustainable. Moving on. Moving on. Statistics Canada has confirmed that inflation is going down because the government stopped charging the consumer carbon tax. Thank you, Pierre Poilievre, for fighting for a more affordable Canada. He fought for years and years and years leading up to this point to remove the carbon tax as a whole, and Carney only removed half of it. Let's make that clear. The industrial carbon tax still stands, but the consumer one is gone. So, yes, we can thank Pierre and the Conservatives for this because this is what they fought for. for a very long time. You can go back to the House of Commons question period. They ran on this, removing the carbon tax for a very long time. Trust me. You can just take my word for that one. Even in the campaign for the election that just happened, it was the main thing he ran on. The Liberals wanted to keep it. They believed that the 8 out of 10 Canadians were receiving more than they were paying, which just simply wasn't true. But now it is gone. I'm not thanking Carney for it. I'm not thanking the Liberals for it. I'm thanking Pierre because he is the one who wanted this thing gone. Since it started, the Conservatives across the board. It's a pipe dream. It is not something Canadians can continue to pay for. So yes, thank you, Pierre. We're going to get into a little bit of AI talk here. A doctor fears he's about to lose his job after showing how AI will impact the medical field.
So I'm about to lose my job. And this is scary because I developed this skill over 20 years. I just, boom, look at an x-ray and say, oh, here we go. We have right middle lobe pneumonia, maybe left upper lobe consolidation. Patient is very sick. She has bilateral pneumonia. We need to take care of her. But here comes AI, and of course, they pick it up in a second. So now, you don't need professional eyes to look at these x-rays. You just have artificial intelligence, and they picked up the pneumonia. So I'm going to be applying to McDonald's soon. I hope they have some.
So look, the AI will be able to detect these things instantly, right away. You don't need to train somebody 20 years to do this. But you're still going to need doctors at the end of the day. There's just not going to be as many. And it's not just the medical field. It'll be a lot of different fields that will see major impacts because of AI. Going a little further into it, Google just released a new version of its, I think, Gemini AI. And now it's able to produce video with speech. And I don't know, 2 years ago, we had those really bad Will Smith eating spaghetti videos. Now this is where we're at.
This ocean, it's a force, a wild, untamed might. And she commands your awe with every breaking light. This ocean, it's a force.
It's insanely good. It's incredibly good.
Is in your ticket.
They're watching the north exit. Use the service tunnel.
If that's how far it's come just in 2 years, give it another year. Give it another 2. And it's going to be really hard to tell the difference of AI and not AI. I mean, like, they are on a different level now, guys. Like, I don't know. This is crazy technology right here. And it goes, like, when you see stuff like this, it goes into what are people going to do when it comes to, say, future elections or, I don't know, anything, any major event that happens. People are going to start producing stuff like this that is this accurate.
This ocean, it's a force, a wild, untamed might. And she commands your awe with every breaking light.
But yeah, I don't know. Crazy stuff. Very, very crazy. It's come a very long way. Some good news. Ontario judge clears Freedom Convoy trucker of all charges. An Ontario judge has acquitted Niagara trucker, I believe Harold Jonker, or Jonker, I don't know, on every count linked to his role in the 2022 Freedom Convoy ruling. The Crown failed to prove he committed mischief or encourage others to break the law. Massive news. Massive victory right there for the Freedom Convoy. I saw this going around on Twitter. Calgarian finds bandage plastic in coffee bought in at a city Tim Hortons. This is an old article from 2019. Now, this doesn't dismiss what happened by any means. This is still disgusting, regardless of how old this article really is. And I want to bring us up to date from a couple months ago when a woman found a cockroach in her iced coffee, and the Tim Hortons workers were just like, well, it happens.
That if it goes over there right now,
They don't control the cockroach, you know?
we do like have the pest control over here, but we don't have a control.
But when they put the packet in the thing, they can't do anything. How many
So
cockroaches
it's
did
I refunded 230 like for one, right? So it's 40 cents more. I'll give you 80 cents cash. That's okay. On the pest.
And I don't know if you guys heard that. She got a refund of 80 cents. At the very end of the video there, the guy goes, well, I could give you 80 cents. How about the entire place is going to get shut down and all of you lose your jobs? How about some quality control that is clearly just gone out the window? Now, yes, this is from apparently March 15th. But my point being, showing you the bandage, now the cockroach, the overall quality of Tim Hortons has gone down tenfold. Stop supporting them. And to go even further into this, a local Tim Hortons in my area used to be #1 for selling the Smile Cookie. This year, they did not get the #1 status for selling the Smile Cookie. And I can only imagine it's because of the overall decline within Tim Hortons products. You see stuff like this, you're not going to want to go to that place anymore. Even if the Tim Hortons is on the other side of the country. Doesn't matter. It's disgusting. Melanie Jolie says, a budget takes a long time to create. Apparently 157 days of a prorogued parliament wasn't enough time. I guess not. Apparently, going to the Vatican, going on a trip, let's do that instead. Let's go meet the Pope. Photo ops, media pressers. That budget, though, that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter at all. Who needs the budget?
On the budget, the government is not tabling a budget this spring. I know that's not your job, but there is a view by Pierre Poilievre and others that this does send a signal to investors. You're not laying out what the plan is right now. The most that the Minister Champagne has said is there'll be a fiscal update in the fall. How do you justify this? I mean, I know that there's not a lot of time, but surely there is an opportunity to tell Canadians what the state of Canada's finances are.
Yeah, I think we need to make sure that Canadians understand what is, what's the state of the economy. I think there can be different formats to do that. Of course, this is a decision by the Minister of Finance, and I'll let him do his job. But I'm convinced that we can find ways to do that.
But you don't think a budget is needed right now?
Well, I think a budget takes a long time to do.
Yeah.
But I think also it's important that we are able to inform Canadians. We are the most economic government in years, and it's a question for us to make sure that not only do we deliver results in terms of the economy, but we're able to inform Canadians and investors.
Okay, Minister Jolie, thanks for being
Pleasure.
here.
I just need to hear that first part again. Hold on.
On the budget, the government is not tabling a budget this spring. I know that's not your job, but there is a view by Pierre Poilievre and others that this does send a signal to investors. You're not laying out what the plan is right now. The most that the Minister Champagne has said is there'll be a fiscal update in the fall. How do you justify this? I mean, I know that there's not a lot of time, but surely there is an opportunity to tell Canadians what the state of Canada's finances are.
Yeah, I think we need to make sure that Canadians understand what is, what's the state of the economy.
Canadians know what the state of the economy is. It is not good. It hasn't been good for nearly a decade. Melanie, we don't need, I don't know, you to tell us this. We don't need a big booklet. We know how bad it is, okay? We go to the grocery store. We go to the gas station. You just live a daily life. You know how bad the Canadian economy has become. That's why I needed to hear that first part again. It's just like, that was insane. Holy Christ. I keep bringing this up, but this is the same woman The exact same woman who did not know the price of butter at the grocery store was controlled by the government. Oh, Canadians are saying things are expensive, like the price of butter keeps going up. Yeah, who do you think controls that? Like, out of touch, the exact same minister from the Trudeau government, another cabinet member who has just been shuffled around. Nothing has changed. But for some reason, Canadians think that this is a new, exciting government and they have a strong leader. Mark Carney is a fool. Just plain and simple. From his Trump meeting to now his own cabinet members contradicting him. He said he was a man with a serious plan. Doesn't even have a plan. They don't plan to release any plan. The Liberal government has fallen apart already. On display. CBC, CTV, from the Vatican to here talking to Rosemary. They are a disaster. And it is on display. I've said it many times already. The mainstream media can't even run defense for these clowns anymore. That's how bad it is. Even they have to sit here and go, what the hell happened? What is going on here? Mainstream media analysts have been repeating conservative platform talking points and policies, and they're acting like this is just a new revelation, these conservative viewpoints that the Liberals are now taking and using. It is hilarious. They are crumbling. They are scrambling for anything right now. This so-called housing plan that Carney is developing, Pierre ran on it. Guys, it's a joke. Yes, take all of Pierre's policies and viewpoints and then continue to say you're a liberal, because that's just not the case then. You're just running for the Conservative Party at that point. Go for it. Absolutely go for it. Brampton LCBO. Canada's changing fast. Guys, I can't show this video in its entirety, but you can pretty much put two and two together here based on the actions that are about to take place. What a disaster. I would not want to live in Brampton. That's fake Canada, fake government. Yes, I agree. 100%. 100%. They prorogued government so they could install Carney, a guy that nobody has ever heard of until he just randomly appeared one day. Where did Carney come from? I don't know. He's a banker debating policy for the whole country. A banker, by the way. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I saw this surfacing on Twitter as well. Another reason to never vote conservative. And, you got a bunch of these hashtags, healthcare, never vote conservative, never Polyev, blah, 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 Danielle Smith unfit to lead. I got my hospital bill from getting my gallbladder removed, and it's $52,604. See, this is what happens when you don't do your research. You end up looking really, really stupid like this person here. And I did a bit of digging, found the person's TikTok, as you could see here from the freckles on the face. Dalton, Georgia. She's an American. So, for the love of God, people, please do a little bit of background research or digging into things, because you'll look really, really stupid like this person right here. Once again, Dalton, GA. I believe GA is Georgia, so she's not Canadian. American. All right, guys, speaking about America, nice little segue here. Trump has announced the Golden Dome project, which will be developed over the next 3 years, his entire term, essentially. Let me take a sip of water here. A $175 billion project. A very big project. A very gold dome. that will protect us from external threats. Let's take a listen.
Attack. And that's what we're doing. Today I'm pleased to announce that we have officially selected an architecture for this state-of-the-art system that will deploy next-generation technologies across the land, sea, and space, including space-based sensors and interceptors. And Canada has called us and they want to be a part of it. So we'll be talking to them. They want to have protection also. So as usual, we help Canada do the best we can. This design for the Golden Dome will integrate with our existing defense capabilities and should be fully operational before the end of my term. So we'll have it done in about 3 years. Once fully constructed, the Golden Dome will be capable of intercepting missiles even if they are launched from other sides of the world and even if they are launched from space. And we will have the best system ever built. As you know, we helped Israel with theirs, and it was very successful, and now we have technology that's even far advanced from that, but including hypersonic missiles, ballistic missiles, and advanced cruise missiles. All of them will be knocked out of the air. We will truly be completing the job that President Reagan started 40 years ago, forever ending the missile threat to the American homeland, and the success rate is very close to 100%, which is incredible when you think of it. You're shooting bullets out of the air. I'm also pleased to report that the One Big Beautiful Bill will include $25 billion for the Golden Dome to help construction get underway. That's the initial sort of a down deposit. And we have probably, you're talking about, General, we're talking about $175 billion total cost of this when it's completed. This afternoon, I'm also announcing that I will appoint, very importantly, General Gutlein to lead the ambitious new effort as the direct reporting program manager for the Golden Dome. Very talented man, and I'm very honored to have been the one that helped or really created Space Force. Space Force has turned out to be a tremendous success. We were third in space, and now we're number one in space by a lot. It's not even close. And Mike is a 4-star Space Force general, the recipient of the Defense Distinguished Service Medal, one of the most respected people in the world having to do with defense. You know, we have offense and we have defense. I'll bet he's good at offense too. And he has an unmatched background in missile warning technology and defense procurement. General Gutlein also knows that we need to move fast. No one is more qualified for his job, and everybody, this was a universal acceptance of General Gutlein. Everybody that knows him and knows everybody else, they said there's only one man for the job, so I have a feeling we have the right guy. But now I'd like to invite Secretary Hegseth and the General to please say a few words and describe the system a little bit. And we appreciate you being here. The press has really been very fair over the last period of a couple of months. I don't know what happened to you. It was so much more exciting the other way, but you've been very, very fair. We have very high poll numbers, the highest we've ever had, and I think we're doing a great job. We had a tremendous trip to the Middle East, as you know. It was a really amazing trip, and now I came home, and this is the one I was really looking forward to this day, because this is very important for the success and even survival of our country. It's a pretty evil world out there, so this is something that goes a long way toward the survival of this great country. And as I said, we'll be discussing Canada. They want to hook in and they want to see if they can be a part of it. That sort of makes sense. I guess that's what I was talking about from day one. You know, it just automatically makes sense, and it won't be very difficult to do, but they'll pay their fair share. Thank you very much, everybody. And Pete?
Yeah, it absolutely would make sense, because obviously we're right above them, and if they wanted to cover Alaska, they would have to cover at least portions of Canada. So, at the end of the day, this is probably the one good thing that comes from the Carney government. I don't know who got in contact with Trump's administration here to make this happen, but as Trump has said himself, it only makes sense that we're covered as well. At the end of the day, it's a big project. 3 years, essentially his whole term, $175 billion. Let's just hope it actually gets completed. That's the main thing. Moving onward. You guys didn't hear the news. Joe Biden, aggressive prostate cancer was spotted. Joe Biden has the big C. I'm not a fan of Joe Biden, but I'm also not a fan of cancer at all. And I don't think anybody is. So I'm not going to sit here and shit talk Joe Biden, obviously, because that would be terrible. And I guess I just hope the best for him. No, he's a terrible president, and I would not have voted for him by any means, and I do not support him at all. But cancer sucks, and I wouldn't really wish that upon anybody. Bottom line. Anyway, though, what everybody is asking, and we are soon finding out more and more about, why wasn't it spotted sooner? The health decline of Joe Biden was quite obvious over his term. A lot of cover-ups, which are now slowly coming out. Different CNN reporters are now literally admitting, yeah, we pretty much covered it up. Let's take a listen.
I did ask Joe Biden to be transparent about his health records in an interview in 2020. I did ask him about the fact that voters
then he wasn't.
Thought that he was not transparent at all. No,
he promised you that he would be transparent about his health records, and then he wasn't. And when you sat with him again,
at all.
including 1 month after the Jackie Walorski thing, you didn't ask him about it. You didn't follow up on the fact that he was falling up the stairs, that he was losing his train of thought regularly, that he was slurring, that he was incomprehensible, that he was getting lost on the White House lawn. You sat right across from him and you asked none of that, notwithstanding the fact that he had promised you he would be fully transparent about his health issues. You know as well as I do that there's a way of, you can say, hey, there's this poll on your age, or you could say, you just forgot that Jackie Walorski was dead. You asked where she was moments after watching a videotape tribute to her. You lowered the flags at the White House after she died. This happened 13 days before you sat with him. There is a way of pressing a man like that on the actual infirmities to bring it home to him and to the audience, and you didn't do it. It wasn't just that. I mean, you sat with him a couple of times in the course of his presidency, and these issues were not pressed. Well, there was at least that time, and then there was the time at the beginning. And but separate and apart from that, you covered the Biden's presidency. No. Let me just finish my point. You covered the Biden presidency. Okay, right. And it was 13 days after the Jackie Walorski thing. But you covered the Biden presidency aggressively throughout the 4 years, and you didn't cover mental acuity hardly at all. I mean, time and time again, when issues came up, you seemed to be running cover for the president. You didn't seem interested. Do you want to apologize to Lara Trump now?
I've already apologized to her. I called her months ago.
I feel angry because she was right. And not only did you not allow her to make her comments, but you seemed to try to humiliate her. You had a hostility toward the position, but she was totally right. And then you lectured her on how she was in no position to diagnose cognitive decline, which you guys do at length, including on page 4 of your book. You describe at length his cognitive decline, which is all she tried to do with you. But you had such a visceral reaction to her.
Joe Biden has been saying stupid things for decades. Okay?
I get what you're saying, but this minimizes it too, because it was more than saying stupid things. But I'm telling you, like over here in my ecosphere, we were covering all of these. It wasn't just falling down; it was getting lost. It was some of the stuff you report in your book. We knew, and we were reporting on, like the multi-jump cuts in the videos of him, where it was obvious he couldn't get through a 1-minute take, so they had to use those. It was clear to us that he was using teleprompter, and there was some reporting on that at the time, all of which the White House was denying. Now, with the current White House, I have some connections. With the Joe Biden White House, I had none. But you did. You did. And so while you've been in Washington 30 years, Jake, you guys, you and CNN have White House connections, but there was no effort, none to get to the bottom of this. And now for you guys to write this book like there was a cover-up, it's like there was a cover-up and there was an attempted cover-up. It could only ever work if you allowed it.
So just to give a bit of background information, because that was a little bit confusing. It was a lot of cuts there to different segments. Jake Tapper was a CNN reporter, or one of these legacy media reporters, and he constantly ran defense about how Joe Biden essentially wasn't declining in health, mentally and cognitively. And he just released a book essentially exposing kind of Joe Biden's health cover-up, and that's what Megyn Kelly is going into here. By the way, Megyn Kelly, she has changed her tune big time. She's going after these guys now. It's wild. Holy. Did not expect that from her, but yeah, she's not wrong. Like I said, this was kind of hard to keep up with as it did cut between a lot of different moments, but you get the gist of it. There was a lot of cover-ups. There was a lot of, well, what's really happening with Joe Biden? The mainstream media, the legacy media, a lot of these reporters were covering it up, trying to hide it, while also questioning Donald Trump and how he is doing in his health mentally. All of that. It's just a nightmare for them because it's all coming to light now. It's all game, set, match for them. And on top of all of that decline to his mental health, now it's come out that he has colon cancer, a very aggressive one. And I believe colon cancer is one of the easiest to detect. I don't know how easy it is to treat, but it feels like something like this should have been detected a while ago. I don't know, though. Could be a bit of a tinfoil hat conspiracy moment there, but at the end of the day, we do know his mental decline was on display for his entire term. It just was. Saw him getting lost at conferences and different ceremonies, and in the middle of his speeches, he would just stop speaking. And he would fumble and stumble on his words, and it was a nightmare. There's a reason he got the boot and Kamala replaced him. Anyway, though, moving onward, just a reminder to all of you Liberal supporters who voted her back into power.
Clear about our price on pollution. That's a very powerful market-based mechanism. It's going up every single year, and we increased it this year, even in the face of higher inflation. And to me, that shows a meaningful commitment. And we also recognize, we have to do our part in Canada. Clear about our price on pollution.
God, she sits there, brags about how high inflation is, and the fact that they continued the carbon tax, continued to raise it. Checkmate, Liberals, checkmate. Except, is it really a checkmate? Because they think that that's all good. They think that taxing the ever-living hell out of you is a good way to go. Guys, right now, Donald Trump is taking questions with the South African president. There has been a lot of controversy going on with South Africa, the farmers. They just brought, I believe it was roughly 50 or 60 people from South Africa as refugees into the States. People are fleeing. It's looking like really, really bad there. So we're going to get some reporter stuff here. This is happening live right now, so we're going to dive right into this.
To fuel that engagement during our talks. And we also want to discuss issues that have to do with how we promote further investments in both countries. We've got about 22 companies from South Africa that have invested in the US, thus creating a number of jobs. And similarly, you've got almost 600 companies that have invested in South Africa, and some of them have been in South Africa for more than 100 years.
That's true.
So our links are really long-lasting, and we would like to recalibrate those relations between our two countries and discuss a whole range of issues, geopolitical, the work that you're doing to bring peace around the world, in Ukraine and in the Middle East. So we value that, and we are also a great contributor to peace processes that are going on around the world. And of course, we want to discuss how we can support each other. You are a much bigger economy than we are. We're just a tiny economy, but we rely on each other on a number of issues. We've got critical minerals that you want to fuel the growth of your own economy and reindustrialize. So we have that on offer, including rare earth minerals. So all that combination of opportunity and the products that we buy from you, as well as what we sell to you, I believe makes up a really good and powerful relationship, which we need to strengthen, which we need to engender. And that is really what has brought us here. And we are really privileged to have great South Africans in the mix. As you said, you'd like to see them as well. And I brought you a really fantastic golf book. Weighs 14 kilograms.
Oh, that sounds good.
And it showcases the golf courses in our country. Johann Rupert wrote preface, so did Annie Els. And I want to showcase our golf courses. You might remember when I spoke to you, and we spoke about golf, you said I should start practicing. And I've started practicing, President, so I'm ready. But let me end just the introductory remarks by thanking you. You may not recall that 5 years ago I spoke to you during the COVID period. Right. And it was at a time when the whole world was going through a really cathartic moment. Right. And we asked for assistance, and you were able to assist us with respirators, respirators, and you kept to your word, and you delivered respirators to us. We didn't have as many in our country.
Carney's not putting out a budget because he can't balance the books. He's following the Trudeau method. Everything will just balance itself, right? That's how it works.
It really helped to help us deal with COVID. So I'm here also to say thank you and to thank the people of America for having helped us during a really difficult time. Being the small economy that we are, we needed help from around the world. And you were there to provide that. So thank you very much.
I remember the call.
Yeah.
We sent 150 respirators. We became the respirator king. We started making them. Nobody had them. We had very few of them.
That's right.
But they were very helpful. But we sent 150, and I appreciated the letter. You wrote me a letter.
That's right. Yeah.
Thank you. I
Well,
appreciate that very much.
Thank you very much for that. It really touched my heart after I spoke to you and you delivered. So,
great honor.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Any questions, please?
Mr. President, you welcome white Afrikaner refugees here. Can you explain to Americans why it's appropriate to welcome white Afrikaners here when other refugees like Afghans, Venezuelans, Haitians have all had their protected status revoked?
Well, this is a group, NBC, that is truly fake news. They ask a lot of questions in a very pointed way. They're not questions, they're statements. We've had tremendous complaints about Africa, about other countries too, from people. They say there's a lot of bad things going on in Africa, and that's what we're going to be discussing today. When you say we don't take others, all you have to do is take a look at the southern border. We let 21 million people come through our border, totally unchecked, totally unvetted. They came from all over the world. In many cases, they're criminals. They come from prisons. They come from mental institutions. They come from street gangs. They're drug dealers. So don't say that we didn't take them. We take them. We're trying to get them out as fast as we can. And we're doing record business on that. And we just won a big case where we're allowed to send back hundreds of criminals to Venezuela. Just won that today in the Supreme Court. I'm happy to hear. But we do have a lot of people are very concerned with regard to South Africa, and that's really the purpose of the meeting, and we'll see how that turns out. But we have many people that feel they're being persecuted, and they're coming to the United States. So we take from many locations if we feel there's persecution or genocide going on. And we had a lot of people. I must tell you, Mr. President, we have had a tremendous number of people, especially since they've seen this. Generally, they're white farmers, and they're fleeing South Africa, and it's a very sad thing to see. But I hope we can have an explanation of that, because I know you don't want that. It's a kind of a different meeting. Normally, we have meetings, we talk about trade, and we'll be talking about trade and other things. But that certainly will be a subject that comes up. Yeah. Yes, please. Brian?
Thank you very much. I'd like to get your thoughts on Letitia James, Director Polte. According to him, Letitia James says that the alleged mortgage fraud was simply a mistake. I want to get your thoughts on that. She put down that her father was her husband in order, and this is very similar to, I guess, the false attacks they had on
Well, I don't know what it is currently, but Letitia James, who's the Attorney General of New York State, it seemed, I'm not involved in that at all. I know that it's being handled by various groups, I guess, but it's major fraud, mortgage documents, and fraudulent everything. I think she said the father was her husband, which she had to have a husband, or so she chose her father, and she put it down, and she had didn't she sign in Virginia, yet she said she lived in Virginia, yet she's the New York State Attorney General, and she did that for tax reasons, so she could take advantage of taxes. And she had the wrong number of units. She had a much different number, which wouldn't have allowed her to qualify and scam the government. So I don't know. I think she's very bad for New York, but I really don't know too much about it, but I appreciate the question. Thank you very much. Yes.
Mr. President, for you to be convinced that there's no genocide.
Please.
Thank you, Mr. President. So May 25th will be the celebration of Africa Day, which pretty much a lot of celebration will be taking place around the world, including here in the United States. What is your message to the entire African continent, African people in this important occasion?
Well, I want to see peace, and I want to see happiness. I want to see health, and you have incredible land. There's tremendous value. A lot of countries don't have that value in the land, the value you have. We have a situation, I think you probably heard about it. We've done, through some very talented people, helped settle a war that's been raging for years, Rwanda and the Congo. And I think we've done it. Believe it or not, I think we've done it. And could you just say a few words about that, my friend?
Yes. A couple of weeks ago, the two parties signed a declaration of principles in which they agreed on the way forward. And they have both submitted draft peace agreements, and we have put together one that incorporates both of their suggestions, and we've given it to them. So we're in the process of finalizing this
Looking
peace
good,
agreement.
right?
Looking very good.
No, we have to thank you for even those efforts, because the African continent, particularly SADC, our Southern African Development Community, has for years been seeking to foster peace in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. So all efforts, including those from outside the continent and inside the continent, are really worthwhile. We are removing our troops from there so that peace can then prevail in that whole area. And we hope that with the support of the international community, we will really have peace in that area. It's so vital, it's so important for the whole region.
Well, we sent our people there, and I think we did a very good job, as headed by my friend, and that was great. That was great. I mean, I'm just hearing phenomenal reports, because all I'm hearing is death, and they're chopping heads off, and it's horrible over there. And it was really brave of you to go there, and I really appreciate it. And it looks like we have something very, very substantial. We also talked about trade with them in terms of rare earth and all, but really more for it's like, if you take a look at what we just did with Pakistan and India, we settled that whole thing, and I think I settled it through trade. We're doing a big deal with India, we're doing a big deal with Pakistan, and I said, what are you guys doing? Somebody had to be the last one to shoot, but the shooting was getting worse and worse, bigger and bigger, deeper and deeper into the countries, and we spoke to them, and I think I hate to say we got it settled, and then 2 days later, something happens, and they say it's Trump's fault. But Pakistan has got some excellent people and some really good, great leader. And India is my friend, Modi. And he's a
mutual friend.
Yeah, he's a great guy. And I called them both, and we just did something good. We're trying to settle Russia, Ukraine. Spoke with President Putin for 2.5 hours the day before yesterday. I think we made a lot of progress, but that's a bloodbath. 5,000 people are being killed a week, 5,000 soldiers a week, not including people in cities and towns that are also being killed. So we're trying to help. And it doesn't affect us. It's not our people, it's not our soldiers, it's Ukraine and it's Russia, but If we can save 5,000 souls, we'll do it. You know, we're pretty good at it. But that's a bad situation. That is a really bad situation.
Well, you'll recall when President Zelensky was coming to South Africa, that's when I spoke to you.
That's right.
We both agreed that we need to push the peace message so that there can really be peace. And we've been involved in the Ukraine-Russia conflict for quite a while through my Minister of State Security here. We've been dealing with them, the exchange of children who were taken away, going through names and addresses and all that. So we've been invested in that whole process as well. And the moves that you're making are fully supported by us because we would like to see the end of that war.
That's true. I called Zelensky and they said, he's in South Africa. I said, what the hell is he doing in South Africa?
He was talking to us.
We got this big. That's a strange one. I said, what are you doing in South Africa?
Yes.
That's a strange one.
He's trying to make peace. Or we're taking him. You know, we were lucky because we had the great Nelson Mandela who taught us how to create peace, to make peace. So we were imparting some of those lessons to him, some of those learnings. And I specifically mentioned to him that this is how Nelson Mandela taught us that when you want to have a peace in a country, do it on an unconditional basis and sit down and talk. And that's precisely what I'm sure he's going to heed.
Well, I wanted to see what happens with that when it's there's a lot of hatred, there's a lot of death. It's a bloodbath.
It is.
I get the,
unfortunately.
I get the satellite pictures of that field, of that killing field. You never saw anything like it in your life. It's horrible. It's a horrible thing that it goes on, but I think we've made big progress. Yeah, please, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President.
No, not you. Right here. He's from South Africa.
No, not you. As a matter of fact, you can leave. Please exit the building.
Go ahead, please.
What are you expecting on the ICJ case? Are you expecting South Africa to drop that? Is that what you're trying to do?
On which case?
The ICJ
The International
case
Criminal Justice.
I don't expect anything, to be honest. I really don't. I don't know. It's they've got a case. There's a lot of anger there, tremendous anger. I don't expect anything. We'll see what happens. We'll have a ruling, and who knows what the ruling is going to mean. Yeah.
On that subject of Gaza, Mr. President, are you going to be speaking to Prime Minister Netanyahu about Israel's renewed offensive there? There's been a lot of concern from European countries. The Pope has expressed concern. Are you going to be asking Prime Minister Netanyahu to tone down the offensive in Gaza to let more aid in?
Was that a question or a statement?
It's a question.
This guy's, you never change.
Mr. President, this time, what would it take for you to be convinced that there's no white genocide in South Africa?
Well, I can answer that for President. It's for him. No, seriously.
I'd rather have him answer.
Yeah, I'd rather answer that. It will be.
Our president will respond to you.
Yeah, let me,
Thank you, Mr. President.
It will take President Trump listening to the voices of South Africans, some of whom are his good friends, like those who are here. When we have talks between us on around a quiet table, it will take President Trump to listen to them. I'm not going to be repeating what I've been saying. I would say if there was Afrikaner farmer genocide, I can bet you these three gentlemen would not be here, including my Minister of Agriculture. He would not be with me. So it'll take him, President Trump, listening to their stories, to their perspective. That is the answer to your question.
But, Mr. President, I must say that we have, wait. We have thousands of stories talking about it. Sure. And we have documentaries, we have news stories, and that. Is Natalie here, somebody here to turn that? I could show you a couple of things, and it has to be responded to.
Yeah, sure.
Let me see the articles, please, if you would, and turn the lights down. Turn the lights down and just put this on. It's right behind you, Johan.
There's nothing this parliament can do. With or without you, people are going to occupy land. We require no permission from you, from the president, from no one. We don't care. We can do whatever you want to do. Who are you to tell us whether we can occupy land or not? We are going to occupy
What the hell is going on?
land. South African occupy land. That's who we are. We don't care what you want to do. We can withdraw my membership from this useless parliament. Honorable. Yes, honorable member.
Must never be scared to kill. A revolution demands that at some point there must be killing, because the killing is part of a revolutionary act. Shoot to kill, Yamaza, kill the poor, the farmer, kill the poor, the farmer, pa, 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 pa.
Look at Trump's face. I have no idea what's going on right now, guys. I have no clue. Some sort of protest, or are they watching a movie or a video? Guys, I have no clue.
The mayor of DAPE is a white man. So these people really...
Okay, so they must be watching footage of like the big... God, they hold like these massive... I don't even know what you want to call them, like stages, which just, there's hundreds, thousands of people, and they just preach some of the craziest shit you've ever heard. I wonder if that's what they're watching right here. I don't know, though. I have no idea, guys. Trump's face kind of says it all, though. He's like, what's going on?
You want to hit them hard, go after a white man. They feel a terrible pain because you have touched a white man. Not because Mashaba and Soli will not be touched. They will be touched, no one. But we are starting with this whiteness. We are cutting the throat of whiteness.
Shoot to kill, Yamaza, kill the brewer, the farmer, kill the brewer, the farmer. Pa, pa, pa. Shoot to kill, Yamaza, kill the brewer, the farmer, kill the brewer, the farmer.
Yeah, and you can just hear the crowd. Like there's a ton of people that are, oh man, that entire situation, what a nightmare. What an absolute disaster. Yeah, at first I thought it was some crazy deranged protester that got inside the Oval Office or wherever they are and just started going off. Like one of these reporters maybe just wanted to let loose, but I think they're watching clips right now of the group in South Africa that's doing a lot of this stuff, I believe.
I don't know what's going to happen in the future. I'm saying to you, was not called for the killing of white people, at least for now. I can't ever see the future.
Yeah, but I mean, you'd understand somebody watching that, especially as it gets shared on Twitter. They freak out. It sounds like a genocide on Twitter.
Alright, I'm going to skip ahead a bit here.
Each one of those white things you see is a cross, and there's approximately 1,000 of them. They're all white farmers, the family of white farmers. And those cars aren't driving, they're stopped there to pay respects to their family member who was killed. And it's a terrible sight. I've never seen anything like it. Both sides of the road you have crosses. Those people were all killed.
Have they told you where that is, Mr. President? No, I'd like to know where that is, because this I've never seen.
I mean, it's in South Africa. That's where.
We need to find out.
Oh man, he doesn't even know where it is in his own country. That's kind of brutal. He looks completely shocked. I don't know why they can't show us what's going on over there, but I mean, here we are.
A Qatari jet to be used as Air Force One.
What are you talking about? You know, what are you talking about? You know, you to get out of here. What does this have to do with?
I told you, you're gonna have to leave. We're gonna go back. We gotta hear the beginning of that.
Mr. President, the Pentagon announced that it would be accepting a Qatari jet to be used as Air Force One.
What are you talking about? You know, what are you talking about? You know, you to get out of here. What does this have to do with the Qatari jet? They're giving the United States Air Force a jet, okay? And it's a great thing. We're talking about a lot of other things. It's NBC trying to get off the subject of what you just saw. You are a real, you're a terrible reporter. Number one, you don't have what it takes to be a reporter. You're not smart enough. But for you to go into a subject about a jet that was given to the United States Air Force, which is a very nice thing, they also gave $5.1 trillion worth of investment in addition to the jet. Go back, you ought to go back to your studio at NBC because Brian Roberts and the people that run that place, they ought to be investigated. They are so terrible the way you run that network. And you're a disgrace. No more questions from you. Go ahead.
Holy shit, guys. Oh my god. Holy. Yo. Wow. Wow. I mean, all the power to Trump, man. What does the Qatari jet have to do what is currently going on? Well, the reason the South African president is even there in the first place. What the hell kind of question is that? Wow. Get him out. Just annihilated him. That guy's probably going to lose his job.
Go ahead, talk about that. His name is Peter something. He's a terrible reporter. Quiet. Let's go.
Thank you so much. President Trump, Anna Pilastra from ENCA in South Africa. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
What would you like President Ramaphosa to do about the situation that we've just seen on the screen?
I don't know. Look, these are articles over the last few days. Death of people. Death. Horrible death. Death. I don't know. To pick anyone, white South Africans are fleeing because of the violence and racist laws. And this is all, I mean, I'll give these to you. So when you say, what would I like to do? I don't know what to do. Look at this. White South African couple say that they were attacked violently. And,
President Trump, when will you go and see for yourself if it is?
well, I could do that. Look, here's burial sites all over the place. These are all white farmers that are being buried. And he asks about a jet that was given. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. You know, you are so bad. You're such a bad reporter. This is one after another. This family.
He's honestly not wrong, though. Like, they're here talking about a completely different issue. A very serious one, too. And the reporter just randomly goes off, completely off the topic, off the rails. He's not wrong. Trump just does his job for him. Like, hey, get him out of here.
He was wiped out. I'm just looking.
Can we get a response from President Ramaphosa,
Give us your
please?
reaction to those videos, Mr. President.
President Trump,
Well, I think the videos are so. No. When you look at the videos, mean, how does it get worse? And these are people that are officials, and they're saying that kill the white farmer and take their land. That's what it is. And I have other friends in South Africa. I have people that left. One in particular that says you can't go there. He said they want to take your land. They take your land and they kill you. It's okay, and they say it's okay to do. Now we're going to talk about it.
We're going to.
But this is a tremendous look. This is a story recent. These are all people that recently got killed.
I was just about to mention how large that stack of reports he's holding in his hand is. Like, every one of those reports or articles, minimum, looks like 20 pages, maybe. It's hard to say exactly, but that is a thick stack of reports.
Yeah. And I don't know how it can get any worse. These are and you know, the men that you saw, the people that you saw in that movie, those are officials. Those are people that were in office. They had one march, they had a dance in your parliament, whatever you may call it, legislature.
Well, let me clarify that.
Yeah,
let me clarify that, because what you saw, the speeches that were being made, one, that is not government policy. We have a multi-party democracy in South Africa that allows people to express themselves, political parties to adhere to various policies, and in many cases, or in some cases, those policies do not go along with government policy. Our government policy is completely against what he was saying, even in the parliament. And they're a small minority party, which is allowed to exist in terms of our constitution.
But you do allow them to take land.
No.
You do allow them to take land.
Nobody can take land.
And then when they take the land, they kill the white farmer. And when they kill the white farmer, nothing happens to them.
No, there is
nothing happens to them.
There is criminality in our country. People who do get killed, unfortunately, through criminal activity, are not only white people. Majority of them are black people. And we have now been utilized.
The farmers are not black.
I
don't say that's good or bad, but the farmers are not black. And the people that are being killed in large numbers, and you saw all those grave sites, and those are people that loved ones going, I guess on a Sunday morning, they told me, to pay respect to their loved ones that were killed. Their heads chopped off. They died violently. And, you know, I mean, we're here to talk about it, and I didn't know we'd get involved here. But I will say this, that if the news wasn't fake, like NBC, which is fake news, totally, one of the worst, ABC, NBC, CBS, horrible. But if they weren't fake news like this jerk that we have here, if we had real reporters, they'd be covering it. But the fake news in this country doesn't talk about that. They don't want to talk about it, but now they have to talk about it. But they won't. This won't even be a subject. They'll have him talking about why did a country give a free, think of this, why did a country give an airplane to the United States Air Force? Okay, the United States, not to me, to the United States Air Force, so they could help us out, because we need an Air Force One until that's Air Force One, it's being built, 2 of them being built. But Boeing's a little bit late, unfortunately. So why did they give us a plane to the United States Air Force? That's what that idiot talks about after viewing a thing where thousands of people are dead.
I'm sorry, I don't have a plane to give you.
I wish you did. I'd take it. I would take it. If your country offered the United States Air Force a plane, I would take it.
Okay. But coming back to this issue, which I really would like us to talk about, and talk about it very calmly. We were taught by Nelson Mandela that whenever there are problems, people need to sit down around a table and talk about them.
Well, there are problems.
And this is precisely what we would also like to talk about, including, of course, trade matters, investment matters. So the issues that concern you as the United States.
Those are all recent. Those are all deaths.
Yeah, in many ways, I mean, one should say you are a partner of South Africa, and you are raising concerns, and these are concerns that we are willing to talk to you about. Let me just add quickly, you know, criminality that we are experiencing in our country needs quite a lot of technological capability. And in one of our areas in South Africa, we're using US technology, which is able to, in many ways, identify where shootings are happening and all that. And I'd like to talk about that because there is support that we can get from you as the United States to help us deal with all these acts of criminality. And that is what I believe partnership is all about. And we are here as a partner so that we can help each other whenever there are challenges. So I'd like us to discuss it, and of course outside of the media, so that we sit down and have a really good discussion that will lead to good outcomes.
Are there any other further punitive measures that could be in place should you not be satisfied that South Africa is fixing some of the very bad things, in inverted commas, that you tweeted are happening?
Well, there are a lot of bad things happening in many countries, but this in particular has been very, very bad, very bad. And because of we're going to have the whole world watching in another short period of time because you have the G20, and that's a big deal. And it seems like, I want you to look good. I don't want you to look bad.
Very good.
But we have hundreds of people, thousands of people trying to come into our country because they feel they're going to be killed and their land is going to be confiscated. And you do have laws that were passed that gives you the right to confiscate land for no payment. You can take away land for no payment.
I want to clarify that because we have a constitution. Our constitution guarantees and protects the sanctity of tenure of land ownership. And that constitution protects all South Africans with regard to land ownership. However, we do say, because we've got to deal with the past, the government, and as your government also has the right to expropriate land for public use.
And you're doing that.
And we've never really gotten underway with that. And we are going to be doing so.
You're taking people's land away
we have not.
From them.
We have,
and those people, in many cases, are being executed. They're being executed. And they happen to be white, and most of them happen to be farmers. Mm-hmm. And that's a tough situation. I don't know how you explain that. How do you explain that?
Okay, so we have an article here coming out from a TD chief economist. Canada is entering a recession. Oh, fantastic. And will soon bleed another 100,000 jobs. Not good. Not good at all. It doesn't shock me based on how everything is going. But you thought the job market was bad. It appears like it's only going to get worse. Anyway, before we head back into the Trump and South African president, I just want to say thank you all for joining. Hit that like button. Hit that sub button if you are new. And let's get back into it.
They're taking people's land away, and in many cases those people are being executed, and in many cases it's not the government that's doing it, it's people that kill them and then take their land, and nothing happens to them. But we have thousands of people that want to come into our country. They're also going to Australia in a smaller number. Mm-hmm. But we have thousands of people that want to come into our country, and they're white farmers, and they feel that they're going to die in South Africa, and it's a bad thing. Yeah, please.
What can South Africa do? What concessions would you like to see them make to improve relations with the United States? Then I have one more for President Ramaphosa afterwards.
Well, we just spoke about, I got them a very, very complex machine, 150 of them. I was asked by the president if he could help, and I did that. And, I have great feeling for all countries. I deal with all countries. But I have a great feeling for South Africa because I have friends. I have a couple of friends, a few friends here today. I have many friends from South Africa, but many of those friends are not, they can't go back. I have, Elon is from South Africa. I don't want to get Elon involved. That's all I have to do, get him into another thing. But Elon happens to be from South Africa. This is what Elon wanted. He actually came here on a different subject, sending rockets to Mars, okay? Yes. He likes that better. He likes that subject better. That's right. But Elon is from South Africa, and I don't want to talk to him about that. I don't think it's fair to him.
That's right.
But I will say that people are fleeing South Africa for their own safety. Their land is being confiscated, and in many cases they're being killed. And that scene of, you see how many crosses they have. Those crosses, that's a dead person in every one of them. And those trucks or cars are paying their respects to all of those dead people on a Sunday morning. That's a rough thing to explain away. And the problem we have, and the way, you know, a correct and a fair media exposes things. But we have a very corrupt media. They won't even report this. If this were the other way around, it would be the biggest story. Now, I will say apartheid, terrible. That was the biggest story. That was reported all the time. This is sort of the opposite of apartheid. What's happening now is never reported. Nobody knows about it. All we know is we're being inundated with people, with white farmers from South Africa. And it's a big problem. Marco Rubio was telling me he's never seen anything like it. The numbers of people that want to leave South Africa because they feel they're going to be dead very soon. Yes, please.
I was going to say,
Brian, go.
If I could just ask you a question. 72% of farmers in your country are white. If they flee, do you feel that maybe the economy could collapse? You may not have a gap to fill in those people that need to replace those farmers.
You know, I'd like my Minister of Agriculture, who is white, who comes from an opposition party to mine, who's joined my government at my invitation to address this very issue, including the question that you've just raised. John?
Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Yeah.
And Mr. President, thank you for welcoming us to the White House. I would say we have a rural safety problem in South Africa. I don't think anyone wants to candy coat that. And it requires a lot of effort to get on top of it. It's going to require more policing resources. It's going to require a different strategy to be able to deal with it. But certainly the majority of South Africa's commercial and smallholder farmers really do want to stay in South Africa and make it work. And I've just come from the largest agricultural show in the Southern Hemisphere with organized agriculture and farmers, and the majority of them want to stay. But they too there have a memorial to those who've died as a result of farm attacks. And as the Minister of Agriculture, it is something that I'm particularly exercised with my colleagues at police and my colleagues in the justice cluster to start making farm attacks and stock theft a priority crime. And it affects all farmers in South Africa, particularly stock theft. It has a disproportionate effect on smallholder black farmers. I also want to just say this, that the two individuals that are in that video that you've seen are both leaders of opposition minority parties in South Africa. Mkhonto weSizwe under Mr. Zuma, and the economic freedom fighters under Mr. Malema. Now, the reason that my party, the Democratic Alliance, which has been an opposition party for over 30 years, chose to join hands with Mr. Ramaphosa's party was precisely to keep those people out of power. We cannot have those people sitting in the union buildings making decisions. And that is why after 30 years of us exchanging barbs across the floor in Parliament and trying to get one over on each other, we've decided to join hands precisely to keep that lot out of government. Because the day they get in to the doors of the union buildings in South Africa or control of our Parliament, that's what you're going to see. And that is why this government, working together, needs the support of our allies around the world so that we can strengthen our hand, grow our economy, and shut the door forever on that rabble getting through the doors of the union bodies, because then South Africa's future would be...
So you denounced that type of language in the video that you saw?
Oh yes, we've always done so. As government, as my own party, we are completely opposed to that. We, in 1955, adopted a document which said South Africa belongs to all who live in it.
But why wouldn't you arrest that man? That man said, kill the white farmers, kill the white farmers. And then he danced, and he's dancing, and it's kill the white farmers. I think, I'm not sure, but I think if somebody got up in Parliament and started saying kill a certain group of people, he would be arrested very quickly. That man is going all over South Africa, and that's not a small party. That was a stadium that holds 100,000 people.
Yeah, so they were watching those videos of the massive stadiums full of people. Yeah, it's crazy what's going on there, guys. That is gonna do it for me, though. They're pretty much just repeating themselves, kind of running in circles at this point. Thank you all for joining. I don't know when I'll be live again other than next week. Actually, yeah, next week is question period. So I will be live on the Monday. The NPC update will probably be replaced by question period. So the next, I don't know, 3 weeks roughly will be the return of the House of Commons. That will be interesting. So I will see you then. I would stream the Alberta Legislative Assembly, but that has ended. They were only doing that for a couple weeks, apparently. So anyway, that's going to do it for me. Thank you all for joining. Have a great rest of your day or night, depending on where you are from, and I will see you in the next one. Take it easy.